Architectural Builder Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
Okay, Kate, how are you?
Hi. Oh, I'm hanging in there. It's really cold.
Right.
Winter Storm Blast 2024. Anyway, I don't know if you looked at the information I sent to you regarding this wacky door opening. Trying to put it all together so that it will actually work. And of course, you can see there's some slightly conflicting information from the customer.
Yeah, so your description is you have 10 foot wide, 7 foot tall, 4 doors, 1 3/4 birch. Okay, and you got some portals. Okay, so what part of all of this am I providing?
Well, I don't know. My coworker described you as a wizard, number one, and that you work with a lot of different specialty openings, that you might know of something that would be able to fulfill some of these attributes and function the way the customer needs it to function. And I was just wondering if you have anything in the way of a room divider that's quasi-accordion that can do the same thing, or if there's a better way to do the hardware and I can still provide the door leaves. Milcasa appears to be able to do it sort of, but I haven't been able to get an answer on if they have a long enough track. They only have like a 7-foot track on their website, which won't be long enough to do what we need.
Definitely not. Well, maybe it will. Let us take a look.
I tried to send you a bunch of different attachments.
Yeah, let's look at it together. So I'm looking at the elevation. And I understand my role is academic in nature, and that is okay. So we see the elevation. Looks pretty cool. Okay, I got it. We see your head and jam details. Yeah, this is very garden variety material. Portals, love it. Milcasa, I am not familiar with, and that all that means is I've never heard of them.
They're an Italian specialty door hardware company. In fact, I think they have their main office in Florida.
Florida?
Yeah.
Love it. So I'm not sure why you would need to use them, although I do like their articulating top and bottom pivots. But I don't see why those, well, actually, those would be nice to have. Obviously, they work, or they must work, because the sauce hinge, or the sauce type hinge that they're referring to, is going to have a floating axis of pivot. And those top and, so I'm looking at the 5th page of the Milcasa paperwork. Those top and bottom elbowed reinforcing pivots, that's interesting how that must work with that floating axis on the concealed hinge. Of all the accordion doors that I've done, that I've been involved in and that have existed, I've never seen that hardware. I would say it's unnecessary, but I for sure would like to test it out. So, okay, then you got some parts and some other odds and ends here for that. And then you have this neat little floor plan. Let's take a look at that. So, okay, so the first thing that comes to my mind, and I don't think it's an issue, but I would be cognizant of it, is the projection of the portals, so that when the doors are parallel to each other in the open position, you don't have a projection problem. You need to look at what I would call the E dimension on that concealed hinge, because it's going to be really small. The reveal amount between the push face of the door and the hinge prep. You may not have enough room to get those those portals and those doors and the doors at 90. My gut tells me that you will, but it would be close. You'd have to.
They're the projection of the rim of those light kits. And the customer understands that the doors will not be flat against each other because of these portals.
Yeah, and
so
they might
that's
be.
not going to allow the doors to be completely flat like they keep drawing them.
Yeah.
So this is one of those functional things that they're going to have to accept.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's going to affect the hidden hinges as to whether or not they're going to be able to function. Good news is this isn't an automated opening. It's all manual. But this is the hardware that they came up with. And so I'm just, trying to put it together and try to find a way to satisfy some things like the gasketing and possibly some kind of door sweeps.
Yeah.
They want the sound dampening thing as much as possible. And I told them, look, you have a bunch of hardware underneath the doors, these interesting hinges and pivots and things. We can't do an under-door sweep. We might be able to do a brush sweep or some kind of a face-mounted sweep, but again, that would be something that's in the middle of where these joints are happening, and it would impede the progress of the doors laying flat. So it's just like yet another thing in the way.
Well, the problem with automatic door bottoms is that your doors aren't going to stay closed. The spring bias on those things is going to force them to open.
Well, I wouldn't even try to do an actual automatic door bottom. I would do an undermount sweep that mounts to the bottom of the door, but I don't think I can because of the hardware from El Casa. So, I'm running into, the world of reality from the conceptual world with this opening because they wanted to do so many things. And then the other thing was this one note where they want to have a whiteboard, surface. And I've tried to get them to accept that that's not going to be a possibility because the architectural world that I live in, nobody's saying that they can put whiteboard surface on an architectural door.
Let's dog-ear that real quick.
Okay.
So I think, you've got 1 3/4 thick doors. I don't know the dimensions of the Milcasa hardware, but you could certainly put a dado for something like a Pemco 5025, their ASB. It's a 1/4 inch thick, it's a 1/4 inch deep, and it's got a soft brush coming off of it. So you could put something on, frankly, all edges. Most likely you could squeeze it in there. But the concept that there will be any sort of retardation of acoustical energy is out the window.
Yeah.
Something's better than nothing, but this would be positively classified as better than an opening without doors, but, you're not going to get very far.
Yeah, this is
super far at the end of the day.
Two kids' classrooms, little kids and littler kids. So there's always going to be some hubbub going on, but this door opening they're just asking it to do too many things that it isn't really designed to do. And they keep on asking us to improve the design, and I've recommended the things that I know to do. But like I told them, I said, I'm not sure we can meet all the requirements. We're going to meet some of them, but...
Yeah, tempering the requirements would be part of improving the design. So... Now, the whiteboards, that's super duper easy, and I'm your guy for that. So imagine you ship me the doors and I toss them on my CNC, and I route a pocket into those doors where you'll take your supplied whiteboards, let's say they're 1/4 inch thick, and you'll just hold them in with 2-sided tape or with some sort of adhesive, and you are home free. I've got the tool to do it, and I've got the knowledge to do it. So it'd be really a fun little project. It'd be a fortune, but it'll be exactly what they want.
Okay. Well, that's something I can put in my pocket if they insist. Yeah. I've sent them some other information where they can have, rolling whiteboards that they can put in each classroom for the kids to do things on, which I think would be a little better. Then they wouldn't be all leaning on this one door opening. So I'm trying to get them to wayside that to another thing that would be less expensive for everybody. But I'll keep this in mind if they come back around to that. Would you also be able to supply the wood doors and do the portals and do the whiteboard in your shop and then send them that way rather than we're not shipping things back and forth?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I can get the doors brought in. I would bring them in as structural composite lumber, and then I would pocket them on the CNC, whatever the prep size is required for a whiteboard. I couldn't supply that, but I would think you could easily find that stuff. I could easily find it as well. It would just be a matter of supplying it and either shipping it loose or actually installing it. And then the design of the whiteboard, let's see what they're...
They want the doors coated both sides with this. They even were asking for it to be magnetic. And, of course, nobody wants to put magnetic anything in their door machines. At least that's what I'm being told. So, well, I mean, if you have, magical abilities to build these doors and, prep them for the hardware items, I can put the hardware items on them.
Yeah.
And have that be part of our install process. But I just thought, well, this is just something I wanted to explore.
Yeah. So basically, the marker surface applied to both faces of doors, obviously, if they want the entire door surface done that way, you'd have to really think about how that affects the portal. But it really doesn't, because all you would do is, we would get the doors pocketed, place the marker boards in, glue them in, and then go back onto the machine and cut the portal size, the cutout for the portal, which is literally CNC 101, and then the light kits go in. So you wouldn't have a marker surface on the entire face. It would kind of be, imagine a full light door where you'd have a style and rail dimension where we didn't pocket. And I think it would work out really well. But you'd have to migrate them away from the idea of the STC stuff, but also you said no tracks are allowed in the floor. And, if these are little kids, they're probably not going to be pushing on the doors a lot when they're writing on them or whoever is. But the corner opposite of the hinged panel to the jamb, you're going to have some twist there. And without a track in the floor that you'd ideally have mortised, it's going to, you push on the bottom of that and it's going to move.
Yeah, I'm trying to get them away from the whiteboard feature on this opening because of that. Because we can't put a track on the floor. In between these two rooms, they really don't want anybody tripping on anything. And even though it's not going to be open during the day, it is going to be open for other functions where families will be in the two rooms and doing things.
All right, so let's kick that. Let's kick that around for a minute. What if you installed 2 Rockwood 570s or something like that, or more commonly an Ives FB1, just a dust-proof strike, and then you took a regular flush bolt for a metal door and you didn't prep it in the style, you prepped it in the face. It's unusual, but it's been done. So then you could have the stability during business hours and have the flexibility to throw those bolts at the bottom and toss that whole opening open. So that could solve that. And plus, dust-proof strikes. I mean, they're in every mall in America. And is it possible that the heel of a shoe could get stuck in there? Yeah, it is, but that really never happens.
Well, this would only be on one side of the opening. It'd be on the first door in the line that moves back towards the pivoted door.
You could
and so this would just be the only, it's just to keep the kids from fooling with the doors, and then they can move them back and, unflush bolt them. So it wouldn't be up in the head. It would be in the face of one of the doors. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, I would. If it was me, I would probably design one near the center of the opening, just so that if I pushed on the bottom of the center of the opening, it wouldn't move. But yeah, absolutely. The opposite end of the hinged panel, toss one there. That dust-proof strike would be under the doors. You would really never see it. And no one would ever have the opportunity to get a shoe stuck in there. It's a dust-proof strike.
Okay.
Yeah,
because I was looking at wood door flush bolts, and granted, that's the only way to go for this kind of a thing.
That wouldn't work.
You wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't be able to get it mortised because it's too thick. You'd have to use a metal door style, like just a typical Ives 458.
Okay.
Yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, you can get there. You can get all the way there, except a real STC concept. You're not. You'll hear people I believe, speaking at an elevated voice. I don't think you'll hear normal conversation very much because it is still a door, right? But the idea of really getting it into the STC 40 range is a pipe dream.
Yeah, no, and they haven't given me that requirement. They just wanted sound dampening, and
Oh, yeah.
And
Well, it'll
I just
dampen,
explained
sure.
to them we have too many conflicts here to actually really seal this opening all the way around. I mean, I can do the edges and, up near the head in the frame, I can put, adhesive gasketing or something like that to help that. But it isn't going to be ideal. It's just, it's just not as far as anything on the face of the door or on the underside of the door. It's going to be intermittent at best, just based on what I can see on these Milcasa drawings. And so it's just not that good. So, okay. Well, I appreciate your advice. We'll definitely keep your number in case I have something else that's more interesting and that you could actually supply for us.
Well, quite
that
frankly,
would be nice.
I think if this is more than just a conceptual idea, I think this dog can run. I can supply those 4 panels. I can do the CNC work. I can do the portals. I can, if we switch the heart. See, I would really consider. I don't know anything about Milcasa. Like I said, I'd like to see that top and bottom stuff, but if it was me, it would just be, a 12-foot track or whatever, a 12-foot track or a 10-foot track, the hangers, and you're done. I mean,
what other hardware are you familiar with that can do the accordion thing?
Anyone who makes sliding door track can accordion. I mean, it's just, if you've got a pocket frame that you've ever used, yep, you've got the right track, and yep, you've got the right hangers. That door will pivot if you install one in the center of the door, in the center of the thickness. It'll turn like a revolving door because the pendant bolt from the mounting bracket on the top of the door is threaded to the carrier, but that pendant bolt where it meets the mounting plate, that'll spin like a revolving door, and that's how it's done. Super easy. This Milcasa stuff, I'm sure it's super awesome and cool. Like I said, love to see it, but I don't think that they've reinvented the wheel with anything in their catalog. It's all, okay. But with the exception, again, of that part number 1138 or 1148. I see what the idea is there. I'd like to speak their, you should talk to their technical support people and say, explain to me why you guys need part 3. Why you guys?
I can't get them on the phone very well at all. I've dealt with them before on other types of openings. Their compact 180, for moving folding doors out of an opening in lieu of Johnson's 1061 bifold hardware, that kind of thing. Right. But it is really difficult. There's a bot, and you get to talk to the bot, and most of the time that doesn't get you there. And then you're trying to get a hold of the one person in the office who has to translate what you say over the phone into English before she understands what I'm saying. It's very
well.
And so,
in this case, I would just, I stock, and I'm sure you can get access to 200-pound track Pemco. You mentioned Johnson, yeah, of course, but their lead times are brutal. Pemco's H200, lights out, done. There's nothing else to talk about. Sauce hinges, or you do just 4 by 3.5 butt hinges. There's not a lot to this.
Okay, well, that definitely makes it a little simpler if they were willing to accept it. Unfortunately, everybody that's on the side of an owner is recommending this Milcasa hardware, and they're married to it. So it's kind of like, help me here. Yeah. I'm trying to make a functional opening.
Yeah, they haven't tried to call the manufacturer and get tech support.
Yeah, so, okay, awesome. Well, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I know it's brutal out and you're busy, so I appreciate the advice, and I will keep on forging ahead and see what I can do to get them back to the world of reality on this. So,
or go down the rabbit hole with them and see how far it goes.
I've gone as far as I can go at this point. It's time to pull the trigger.
Oh, yeah.
And I only have so much money in my budget, so that's the other part of it. So I will keep going. So it's nice talking to you, though, and have a nice weekend.
Awesome. Same to you. Thank you very much for calling.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program. Please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.